Good afternoon, fellow YouTubers. This is going to be an updated review on my 2021 Bad Boy Rogue. Of course, I purchased this thing more or less as a retirement mower, and I went through a lot of different plus and negatives on my last review, and this one's going to be kind of a updated review on things I've done, I've added, and things I know should be done and things to watch out for. So let's begin. The current 2023-2024 Bad Boy Rogues, there's some significant improvements basically to your daily lives as far as the capabilities and the conveniences. I guess starting with the front forks here. Now they're fully adjustable. The reason being is for the actual spindle alignment with the wheel. From what I could tell, this really is a benefit between the 54-inch and the 61-inch, because in certain grass environments it tends to push down as you're trailing with it, and I guess somehow, some way they figured out that that's causing an issue. The next things, or the next updates that I've seen that they have done is, of course, they paint this area, they paint this area. Right now I know the front caster wheels are no flat standard. I have no flats anyway right here. I recently purchased them because the air tires I had, they came with this, they have completely wore out. The second thing is the suspension seat is standard. You also get a striping kit behind the deck as a standard option. Of course, there is a ton of things that come standard now. I believe that, consumer has really spoken up, but what this review is about, it's more about the things and pros and cons. I've kind of run into some cons that I've had to fix and update, but other than that, I'm not complaining about the mower itself. Price range, it's something that you need to consider as far as if you're getting a fleet of them, or if you're looking at getting something that is more reliable but not going to hurt your bank. But anyway, I guess I can start what I've done as far as modifications go, because I really think this is something that needs to be addressed and considered. I can start right here with the Advanced Cute. I'm sure you've all noticed something way different than what you standard, or the standard Advanced Cute setup is. So basically, if you buy one of these mowers, they give you one with a handle. It's right here, and like I said in my last video, the 61 and 54 inch, it's easy to operate, but this being a 72 inch, the last video I made, I said I was going to make some modifications to it, but it just didn't work. It was either I had to do a double mechanical setup right here, or actually make it shift side to side. I think like a grass flap. The grass flaps are pedal operated, and you can buy that for this model. I think they're running in the neighborhood of $430, and it has a cable that runs underneath there and comes down and then up and down flap, and you can control it all from your foot if that's an option. But this right here is just something that's half the price. This is actually still a Bad Boy option. Right now this is a Revolt, and this is the same bracket design that you get on a Revolt. But the thing is, the bracket actually extends right here and bolts up, you know, where your controls are to the cup holder area. So all I did was cut off the back and drilled a couple holes there, and then drilled straight down the frame. It works wonderfully. Didn't know if that was something y'all are complaining about. Maybe you don't have to reach out so far, and you know, it's just like I said, it's just like the Revolt. So I mean, you get the full close and shabam, and it works great. So the dealer I work with, I showed him it, and he's really excited about it. He's, you know, mentioning it to everybody. Spring actuated right there. Now, if it's something you guys don't like, because it is straight up and down, you know, the standard one you can get actually leans in, but it blocks your view of the edge of the deck, but that's okay. You can still see what you're doing. That's one of the improvements I know that works really well. The second improvement I have done to this, the Renegades come with actual oil coolers, and what I have done is actually installed oil coolers. And just so happened, I didn't realize it, but the Renegade came with these same style, and I had no idea, and I swear I had no clue until I was doing some more research. So since I've, you know, purchased the basket, I guess I'll touch base on it. The time I've spent on this thing, especially during hot summer days, I'm sure you guys have noticed. Maybe it's just me, I don't know, but nobody says anything. I don't know. Each system on this hydro setup has about, I think, 2.5 quarts, they state, on each side. And after you're running this thing for, you know, 3-4 hours, the controls get kind of spongy, and I just didn't like the fact that that was happening, I guess is what I'm getting at. And since this is a hydro pump and wheel motor style, it's not an integrated like hydro gear all in one, basically like a 4400 or 5400. So what I ended up doing was trying to resolve the issue, and let me tell you, it resolved the issue. These are 12-inch automotive style. They range from 12-inch all the way up to 30-inch. I think they're in like 3-inch increments when you go and purchase them. Very inexpensive. I think total cost for both of these was like $40-some. But that's not including, of course, the hoses. The hoses I purchased, I think it was roughly 12 feet. I think all you really need is 11 feet. It was just kind of a rough estimate what I was doing. And of course the fittings. I got 90-degree fittings. These hydros come in two styles. They have, the Renegades actually is over-under setup, so it's a one inlet setup. I'm sorry, no. It is a dual inlet, but it's dual 1/4-inch inlet on one side, and it cycles through the top and then comes back out the bottom one and goes back into the reserve. This one is one side out the other, and it's a bigger fitting, bigger access, bigger everything. And huge improvement. So right now, instead of 2.5 quarts, it is now over 1 gallon each side with that. So the whole system is, when I topped it off total with the system, it was a total, I think, of almost 3 gallons, give or take. It was like 2.8 something gallons with the pumps and everything. So, and they work beautifully. Very easy to set up. you got your Hydro Gear 16cc pumps. You got the charge pump on the top, and that's where this one goes to. It's more or less a suction, because the low pressure side's that lower hose, the braided one, and these of course are your high pressure side. So as this thing ignites and starts spinning, it's cycling it basically in through the filter and then back up, and then back up this tube right here in there, and then back down, and then cycling it and then coming back. And it's just a constant cycle system. Low pressure, 50 psi right here. And the vacuum on this, I don't recall what it is. I think it's like 16-18 pounds of vacuum through this system. These hoses are good for 300 psi and 28 pounds of vacuum. Nothing to it, really simple. The original setup, of course, is just one hose from here into this part. And then of course you got your actual sight glass. They put a tube here so you know what level the reserve tanks are. So right now, with this, the filter, the pump, the wheel motors, all the hoses, and then these coolers right here, they add like a gallon 0.75 each side or something. I can't remember. So the biggest benefit of it is you lose that spongy feeling in your controls after running it really long time. And you know, these fans, they can only do so much. But if you're worried about the system as far as, oh, why did he run it uphill and then back down, you don't have to worry about it, because there's a check valve, and this will not flood anything backtrack. It has to pull the fluid like a siphoning and then go back in, but it has to pull it through the filter. You need pressure for that. So if you're wondering about that, any worries, no worries. The Renegades mount these, you know, with the Renegade it's a rear plate. I call it the back pulley vertical belt design, so it makes the belt a lot longer for everything, and they put the pumps horizontally. Horizontally. And these of course are vertical shafts, everything. Vertical shaft engine, pumps, all that. The Renegade is all horizontal shaft, everything. So the engine is flipped up and the pumps are this way. And then your clutch on the back. And like I said in my last video, this is no different than the Renegade from basically that point forward. It's all the same. The frame, they just add that extra, they say in a sense it is a better design to have it that way. I've had that in a couple Exmark HDs or XDs, I think it was. I just didn't like it. I thought it was a very poor design, poor setup, and it was very frustrating because when the belt did come off the actual mower deck, it was a very, very big headache. So big plus, not a con right there. Now I will say there was a con in all this. Just recently I had to purchase all 4 new lines here, all the pressure lines. They're 20 inches long. The ones that came with this mower, I don't know if it was just a bad boy thing or they had a bad run, but they started leaking right here, right around the clamp fittings. Really bad, especially this side. It was just dripping. I was losing about half a quart or more out of this side. It was just dripping. So I think I had one cut last season I had to do, and then it just got real worse. So anyway, I'm not dissing Bad Boy for it. I'm not one of those that says bring it back to the dealer for everything. Everything right here I've installed. I've even installed a battery charger, trickle charger that just stays on the mower. When I park it, I can just anything. I can trickle charge it there or bring that inside. It doesn't matter. But I had to replace all 4 of these, and nothing hard to do. This setup I think was more difficult than that. So that was a con. That was about 170 bucks out of pocket right there. But I made them 22 inches long because this 3-link suspension that this thing has in the rear, you know, it moves. It's not like a 6, 7, 8 inch travel by no means, but it's like an inch or more. And this thing just moves around, you know, and these things, I guess that's what caused it. I'm not entirely sure if that was the case, but these are Parker brand, and I've actually noticed here lately when I purchased these from the fastener place I go to, they kind of said that the lines I brought them were real cheap, and I shouldn't have a problem out of this, and they're right. These things are holding up great. So that's something, if you have this model year 2021, you might want to watch out and you know, keep an eye on that on the top here and on the wheel motors. And there's on the same here, the top and bottom, there's these little fastener nuts here that keep this from leaking in this area, so you can actually turn this and swivel it. This of course is a cone shape, you don't have to worry about it, but this, once you loosen this, there's an O-ring there behind each one of these. And same thing down at the wheel motors, there's a 90-degree fitting, and you've got to look at both of those. Just keep an eye on them. So that was a big issue, and that's pretty much been the major issue I've had. And you know, things go down, things you can't help it, it just happens. So there's a couple more things you got to watch out for. So I don't know if I can get this in there, I'm trying. But basically, there's 4 bolts right here on the wheel motor, and the other one of course is right here. So these 2, they don't come with lock nuts from the factory. You might want to replace those right away. It has not occurred to me or happened to me, but I've seen it happen on other sites, and guys will be just driving, and then those lock nuts or the factory nuts just pop right off, and this whole wheel just goes right off. So basically this whole system is worthless without those 4 little nuts and bolts holding the wheel motor on to the big old dog bone there that links up to the 3-link. So, and there's your Parker wheel motor right there, and then it shoots out, of course, and it has 4 bolts holding it on. And then there's your 3-link suspension. You can kind of see it. I've got this, yeah, right here. I've got this striper kit. I had it put on when I bought the mower, so it kind of blocks everything on that. So that's another con you got to watch out for. Another con, the original plate on this was actually orange, and this is actually a 2024. I was going to take the original plate I had and re-sandblast it and re-powder coat it, and I kind of kicked myself because I should have fixed it when I had it, when I first noticed it I should say, but this darn muffler right here is just a nightmare. And like I covered on my last video, you got to cover this. And I don't, like I was saying, I don't know if it was just this engine, the Kawasaki's, but the Vanguards I don't know, and the Kohlers I don't know, but it melts that neoprene plastic around that edge, so you got to watch that. But this muffler gets so hot that on the other plate I had on the back, it turned this whole area just orangey, yellowish green. I mean, but it just gets laser red. So with this recent update, they put this little dimple here, and then this plate is actually for the big Kohler, because it comes way out right here on the carburetor setup, or the fuel injected I should say. So I just purchased a new plate, and eventually I've got the other plate with me, but it actually costs more to re-sandblast it, or sandblast it and re-powder coat it. So I said, what the heck. I think this rear plate here was $160 with all this hardware and even the rubber bumper I got. But this is what you need to do. So this is a heat shield I installed, and like I said on my last video, don't ever wrap this up with muffler wrap or anything like header wrap. Just bad idea. Don't do it. It'll blow it. It blows it off right here, and I know. This hasn't happened to me, but a couple other guys with the same mower it has. But right here, just go buy you some nice high temp adhesive wrap, heat sink adhesive wrap, and just stick it right on the plate there, right below the letters there, all the way down the bottom, and it works perfect. When I did the heat test on this on my old plate, this thing was, I mean, crazy hot. It was like 800 plus degrees right here. It was just unbelievable hot. Now, I don't know if that means, I know this thing is running richer than more air. I know that for a fact, but this thing just doesn't get cooled. So right now with this heat shield, it's like hovering right about 480, right at 500 degrees. And I'm hoping that resolves the issue here of this churning colors and all that. Another issue you're going to find with these carbureted Kawasaki's is you got to watch this one line right here. That's your vacuum line going in and out. The old one's crappy and it cracks right here, so just get you some fuel line. And the reason I'm telling you all that is if you have trouble starting one of these and they just keep cranking and cranking and cranking, it's because that line is cracked, and that's basically what spins your fuel pump. You ain't got to worry about that with the EFI. Everything's electronic, and it's got that nice little old fuel pump on it, electric fuel pump. But yeah, other than that, hydro coolers, definitely recommend it. Comes with 4 holes on the hydro coolers, so there's 4 bolts. I just put some stainless steel bolts there. So if you have any questions about this setup or the hydro coolers, hit me up. But yeah, everything right now is updated, and I have no issues with this. Bad Boy did a great job. 3-gauge deck. You ain't gonna beat it for the price. Everybody complains about these big Reaper tires on these bad boys. I don't. They're between the ISOs up front and rear and these big tires and the 3-link, this is just a Cadillac to me. But that engine does love the gas. But this is a, you know, nearly 1,600 pound mower. So anyway, like I said, hit me up. If you have any questions about the hydro coolers or the Revolt style Advanced Cute with the handle there. Like I said, the grass flap, that works great because you got a foot operated on your left foot if you want, or you know, you can put this deck level foot operated control on either side of this if you want, whatever your preference is. But yeah. This has been my couple year review, for being an older design, and they really haven't changed much about it, other than black. Yeah, just a couple little things. I don't like the fact though that you can't get this seat anymore unless you buy it. They all come with suspension seats, and like I said on my last video, you don't need a suspension seat on this mower. It rides so soft compared to any other than maybe a Ferris. Those things ride like a Cadillac. But yep. Just let me know what y'all think and see if you like it. And that's my review so far, and I'm loving this machine. It cuts like a dream. They ain't got no issues. Stripes beautifully, and kudos to Bad Boy. I think they did a great job. They need to get their name out there more, and I'm really happy with it. For some of y'all, maybe this is too big of a setup, but like I said, it never hurts to go the next step higher when you get a commercial mower, even if you're not commercially mowing all the time. So anyway, like and subscribe, and y'all have a blessed day.